Hi there guys, it's Joey. So this is a new spell set for the store, which was a request. It was for the goddess Sekhmet from the Egyptian pantheon. And the items in shot were requested, and I was given leeway to just go nuts. And I really, really love the goddess Sekhmet. I have a long-standing respect and admiration for her. She's one of the very first goddesses I thought I might be able to connect with. It didn't happen that way, and the Egyptian pantheon was completely wrong for me. But I think, given the goddess that I ended up being dedicated to, the similarities, the feelings and the energies are not 100 miles apart. So, and I always enjoyed her mythos. I enjoy like the lioness energies, and I just kind of love her. So this was an absolute pleasure, an absolute honour. I think it came out beautifully. I'm really happy with how it came out. So the goddess Sekhmet is known as the right eye of Ra. She was created by Ra to be his vengeance, be his wrath upon the people who he was angry for their disobedience and lack of faith. He unleashed Sekhmet, and she did cast her wrath upon them and became crazed with bloodlust to the point when Ra was a little bit regretful and wanted her to stop. Nobody could stop her because she had bloodlust, and she was unstoppable. She was all-powerful, and to the point where they had to drug her. They drugged wine, and when she was lapping up this wine thinking it was blood or it had intermingled, they actually drugged her and calmed her down that way. The goddess Sekhmet is known as the Destroyer, a goddess of war, destruction and resurrection, sovereignty, the mighty one of enchantment, personal power, blood, retribution, justice, solar and fire energies, as well as helping one to understand and transform one's anger. So these are the energies which are interwoven into the set in particular. And the items in question are all requested. I was thinking about doing votives, so if the lady likes the energy and wants some votives as well, just let me know and I'll create a couple before I put it on store for you. But this set really ties into how I've been feeling lately about these types of goddesses, which is basically we shouldn't be shying away. We shouldn't be sanitizing them. We should be embracing that element. And there is so much of a bloodline going through this. So strong warlike energies. There's a victory, a conquering, destruction and resurrection as concepts which cannot exist one without the other. Tearing down things that need to be torn down in order to build up new energies. Personal sovereignty, personal power as absolute powerhouse of power in this particular set is crazy. I adore it. I adore this set. So let's have a look at the individual items. We'll start with the Herbal Blend. The Herbal Blend is very much about scent. A lot of them are now, although it does have quite a nice deserty feel and has a nice sort of array of a little bit of red in there. I definitely wanted a little bit of red in the Herbal Blend, even though the emphasis is on strength and scent and power and the energy being given off. So it has to be on point as an offering incense, because it had to just align with the energies that I wanted. It had to have this solar fire energy, this transforming fire and transforming anger by the power of fire to burn up and get rid of and destroy that which no longer serves. It's very strong there. And this power energy, it's got a beautiful scent which lends itself to rituals of personal power and retribution. So then we have the spell oil. We're going to get macabre, and I may well be putting this on the store again afterwards because my god, this stuff. Right, so this is Sekhmet's Destroyer Oil, and it's meant to look like blood, and you're meant to be able to see the bits floating around in the blood. Yep, I told you we were getting macabre. And I got these lion charms especially for this set. I went and found lion charms that were roaring, because a lot of the lion charms that you can get are kind of nice, and I didn't want nice. I wanted raw, I wanted ferocious, I wanted a little bit more of an aggressive stance in the charms, and this worked really well. I'm really pleased with the charms. So yeah, so this is her Destroyer Oil. Destroy anything, retribution, justice, that blood energy that we talked about from the mythos. It really just destroys all ills. Nothing's gonna stand up to this, no freaking way. And I was like, whoo, when I was making it, I was like, whoo, I think I might need some of this. I might have to tweak it so it's Morrigan rather than Sekhmet. But the deep blood colour, and you can just see the movement in, oh goodness, pools of blood of Egypt. There is no coming back from that Destroyer Oil. And then we have her spell orb. Again, you have the Roaring Lion charm and the red. Red is actually Sekhmet's colour, by the way. It's not just for blood, it is her traditional colour as well. And I already knew this, and I knew what colours I wanted right from the get-go. So there you go. It's a little bit warlike in there, a little bit aggressive. There's, you know, quite a lot of sort of spear-like, warlike, weapon-like shapes within the particular spell orb, and it had to be wild. It's this wild, untamed feminine energy that's running through it. This orb has a more protective vibe, perhaps, a bit less destroyer. That's my hand, because I'm going to move it out of shot because it drives me crazy that I can see the tripod and that and the thing. But the spell orb has a little bit more of a protective vibration rather than the destroyer vibration of the oil, because the orb is more likely to be hung up and used in worship. I wanted that to have that more protective lioness vibe. So the spell orb in particular is just a little bit more protective, a little bit more guardianship than the oil, for example. But the oil is just pure destroyer, whereas the orb is protector. And then my favourite two are the two spell cauldrons. So red and black are two of the colours, and gold is the other that I wanted for the goddess Sekhmet. Red obviously takes precedence, it's her colour, pools of blood, you're looking down, and it looks like little works of art, if I do say so myself. It's just, they came up just as I wanted them. You can imagine it many things. It's like looking down on maybe like a regal map of Egypt, and you can see like all the mountains and the hills and the valleys of the desert. Or it could be looking down into the mess that Sekhmet made, the pools of blood with the sand moving around in them, and it throwing into vibe that. And you have the little lion charms again, of course, and all those energies flowing through, of which we've already talked about: destroyer energy, protective energy, resurrection energy, transforming one's anger, finding a healthier outlet to one's anger, but also understanding that the power of anger and the righteous anger has a place in life, that sometimes anger is the right response, and the goddess Sekhmet is asking you to really look at that within your own life. Like, what's making you angry? Why is it making you angry? Is it deserving of your anger? And therefore, is it deserving of higher wrath from the goddess Sekhmet, perhaps, in particular? Do you deserve justice for the situation? But I really, really adore how they look like pools of blood, or maps of Egypt, and they also remind me of highly mystical, magical brews. And she does have her element as the mighty one of enchantment, and that's quite an aggressive enchantment in my feeling. So it is kind of like looking into a magical, aggressive enchantment cauldron, and that's exactly what I wanted, and the two complement each other without being the same, which I enjoy very much. Okay, so that is the requested spell set. Let's just slightly move the orb in so it's not reflecting at me, and I hope you like it, and many blessings.